from an outside perspective, you have everything going for you in the way that it should right now, do you feel like you're still putting on a front that isn't necessarily you? Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a little bit of a hiatus, if you will. I thought there was going to be another hiatus because I had a busy weekend. But, tell me what you boys have been up to. It's nice to have you here again.
I have been going through a hell of a crisis in terms of relationships and,
Mm.
choices when it comes to romance. Recently, I watched this video by a friend of mine sent it to me. It's a short snippet of Jim Carrey on a podcast, and he speaks about depression and the difference between sadness and depression. The way he describes it is sadness is like a moment thing, in the moment, because of circumstance. That's driven by circumstance. That's sadness. Whereas depression, or the term depressed, he says, can also be seen as deep rest. So you're in need
Mm.
of deep rest from pretending to be something you're not. Your
I
body
watched the same
requires
one, dude.
deep rest from
Deep
that, and
rest.
that's really, really profound. It got me thinking a lot about why I've been feeling down recently, even though a lot of what seems to be happening around me is quite positive and quite nice, from an external point of view.
So,
Um,
dude, now I should have to ask, because he went into saying that as well. It's like this deep rest that you also need from the person that you're trying to be as well. Like, even
mhm.
though you can say from an outside perspective you have everything going for you in the way that it should right now, do you feel like you're still putting on a front that isn't necessarily you?
Absolutely. In some ways, like this new partner that I'm being with, I'm putting up a front as to who I am. I'm saying certain things that don't really match my personality just so I can get on her wavelength, just so I can be in a intimate
Favorable position.
relationship.
Mm.
And that's, yeah, it's not right. It's not pleasant. And my body speaks to me. It says these things to me. It's quite obvious about it. It's very vocal in its ways. And it's like, hey yo, the fuck are you doing? What are,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Stop it. Stop it right now. I'm like, what? We're like, what? We're like flexible. We can be what we need to be when we need to be it. And it's like, no,
Um,
no, we stubborn motherfuckers. We be us. We be us no matter what. We don't do things for anyone else. We're gonna be us. And I've been trying to be more flexible and a little more accommodating of different ways of thinking, and then it really made me realize just how much you need to be you, no matter
yeah, dude.
the situation. It's like, we could say we're very adaptable beings as humans, that we can understand the necessity of the situation, and we can mold ourselves to, go with the flow of that. But that's where the deep rest comes in, is because you can't keep doing that for long periods of time. There comes a point where your body's like, all right, that ain't us. That ain't us. We can't keep doing this. We're gonna have to stop, or we're gonna start shutting down. We're gonna start sleeping longer, taking longer showers, not wanting to eat, and we are going to protest until you stop with your bullshit and you go back to the way you are.
I think
Uh,
I think it like to go back to the way you are. Yeah, I like that way of putting it because it's so important. I remember I noticed it when I was trying. Funny enough, I feel like it had happened with me as well when I was trying to get a girl. And you start pretending to be someone you're not out of the sheer hope of connecting with this person, or even I think you can extrapolate it to the work environment, to your friends, to anything. You start pretending to be something you're not out of the sheer need for this person or these people to like you, and that's tiring. Not being you is fucking exhausting. You have to continuously pretend to think in a way that your body doesn't naturally do. And Estian, you still said the most profound thing to this day. for me with your three saying, as long when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in line, you will be a happy person. And it's such a incredible sentence, because it doesn't mean that what you think and what you say are, if they're false, you're still going to be unhappy. What you naturally think needs to be what you naturally say and do.
Yeah, but you see, oftentimes that doesn't align with the rest of the world. Sometimes it's
No,
like unacceptable what you think. Everyone in society will be frowning upon you. Like how could you? How dare you? And you're like, it's in my nature, man. This is the way I am, man. And it's wrong and it's
Dude,
weird
like, you
and
know
it's
what I believe about this as well, and this is something that, again, I think Alan Watts is a very popular figure
God,
today.
dude.
He went into talking about how as soon as you realize, and you live in a way that is so true to yourself, and you live in that way because you realize that there is only that, living true to yourself, the rest of reality loses this seriousness to it. And from the outside perspective, people looking in see you in your state of being yourself as this, like, oh, haphazardous, doesn't really care so much, sees through the illusion. And to them, they find it concerning, because why isn't this person taking this thing I've invested my entire life in as serious as I am taking it? And that really messes with people, dude. It's so difficult for people to look at that.
Bro, what are you telling me? That's so incredible. I never thought about that, but an ego attached to an idea will see everything else as false or threatening when they do not agree with that idea. And when you take away the egotistical idea of attaching yourself to ideas, you lose the need for other people to think in the same way that you do.
Yep. You have peace, dude.
Because I was listening to this thing. There's this channel. I'll throw it in. Esteban, would you mind throwing it into the description? I'll send it quick. It's just a guy that does lectures by Alan Watts. They're just black screens, no music. It's just him talking. That man's ability to explain ideas and concepts to a degree that is understandable yet unfathomably wise, that you have to listen to it multiple times. And I don't mean right after each other. I have listened to the same Alan Watts talk maybe 3 times or 4 times in the last 3 years. And each time I pick out something else. Because each time you talk about something, you'll grab something that you're currently busy with or that you're currently experiencing in your life, and then you'll learn from it. And the next time you listen to it, you're like, oh, I get that concept now, but that concept applies into this side. And this thing now amplifies this previous idea I had. And so it keeps going. He was doing a talk about the self, and explaining the Hindu and Buddhist idea of what the self is. Now, the Hindu and Buddhist idea of the self is what we classify as uh, the universe or God or whatever. It's the complete
Oneness.
it's the complete externalized universe of consciousness. So it is the thing out of which all consciousness extends. The self, or I'm trying to think of what the exact names. It's not Ananda. It's I can't remember the Sanskrit name for it now. But that realization that each one of us is just a part of the greater whole, and
Aham
what
Brahmasmi or something like that.
what
One of the mantras was Aham Brahmasmi.
yeah, that was one of those from the 21
Yeah,
days to abundance thing.
the Deepak Chopra meditation challenge.
Yo, dude, that thing was fucking profound. It changed my life over a course of a month in the beginning of lockdown. It was actually quite insane. But we were talking about the self, and point's gone.
Nope, you were talking about, like, Alan Watts going into the self.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I was where I was pulling the idea to.
Oneness with the universe.
Yeah, oneness with the universe.
Our interconnectivity to it, our ability to see through the seriousness of it.
The illusion of separation.
When you just like fuck
Us
it, we'll
hippie-
throw
we'll just throw all of them hippie terms.
all of the spiritual terms at you and see which one sticks.
I've been obsessed with the illusion of separation recently.
Same,
Like
dude.
the when you hit that point where you're like, I am not separate from the universe. I am it expressing itself in this flowy, magical symphony that is life. You know, and you become so relaxed when you come to terms with that fact. And the worst part about relaxing to such an extent is you start being like water. You start being like the air, you know, you start being like natural elements where everything just is and it's flowing and it's all at peace. But you start losing your humanity, bro.
You're not losing your
Humanity.
dude. You're losing your humanity guilt / humanity fear basedness, dude. Again, you lose that seriousness. You become light, as you say.
You become light, you become calm, and then that's the problem. In this day, you can't live that way. You can't live that way, not
You
in
have to live that
society.
way, Christian.
But
That's the thing, dude.
there's a
Like,
very big difference between being lazy and being like water. You can be at peace and do the thing you need to do. But the Taoists have a good way of. I'm trying to remember the way they put it is, be like water, and do the task that is set in front of you with as much might as a river cutting through a mountain, but do it with the effort the water takes to cut through the mountain.
that's beautifully put.
And it's meant to say don't procrastinate. If suddenly you have this giant race that's sitting in front of you, don't go, oh, I'm lazy, I'm gonna sit back, the universe will handle it. Oh, it's in front of you, go do it, go attempt it, go do what your body and what the universe is giving to you. But don't become so attached to it that you can't or that you can't see past what it is. I don't have that big of an example of this, but something that happened to me recently, I want to call it cute, because I went to go get my vaccine last week, Thursday. Was it Thursday? Yeah, last week. Well, yeah, Thursday that just passed. And I went and I sat in line, and I was like, I know this is gonna take a while. I'm gonna be a walk-in. Fuck it, it's okay. I'm not gonna book. I'm not gonna stress. I went and sat in line. Fell asleep for like half an hour in line waiting for the vaccine. Eventually, gets to the front, write up my list and everything. And I sit down and I see there's this girl to my left, and a girl to my right. And so I start talking to the one to the left because she booked. And I was like, yeah, no, you have to go first and everything. Just please make sure that you tell me how it was, blah blah blah. Start chatting her up. That sounds really bad, not chatting her up, just chatting to her. She goes in for a vaccine, and this girl to my right, I can see she's so nervous, and she's probably like in her 30s or something. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, I'm nervous as well. I can see you're nervous. Nobody really likes injections. They're not the worst thing, but nobody likes something being injected into you. So I start talking to her and everything. Eventually she's like, yo, please make sure you tell me if it was okay, please. I go and I get my vaccine. It was the easiest thing I've ever done. Come outside, I'm like, yo, that was great, you wouldn't even notice it, blah blah blah. Tell her, reassure her. She goes and comes out, she's like, yeah, that wasn't that bad. And that little experience of talking to just two humans, the other girl eventually came out, me and her sat and talked for 15 minutes because you have to wait after your vaccine, and then we went our separate ways. But in that moment of just connecting with people and understanding that everybody has more or less the same fears at any given time. Nobody that illusion that you are somehow way more capable for the thing that is happening right now is so false. Everybody is just attempting it with the best knowledge they have right now. Man,
We're constantly learning, dude. That's the thing as well. Like we're so adaptive, so I don't want to say progressive. I don't know if progressive is the right word. We keep moving forward, dude. Like we make mistakes, we hurt ourselves, we sometimes have a hard time moving forward. But like again, as the river, cutting through that mountain, just day by day, year by year, little bits of rain, washing away. If you're making some progress, you're making progress.
Yeah, dude. The explosive man. The fucking East. I don't know what happened, but they have come up with some insane wisdom. So has everywhere else in the world. I'm not gonna discredit that, but I don't know why I resonate so incredibly deeply with the Taoists, the Buddhists, the Hindus.
Can I tell you why, Johan? And
I
this is
would love to
actually
know.
this is actually something that Alan Watts actually talked about as well. And he goes into saying how in the Western world, like people and our Western society has been almost invested in a technological way of understanding, like all of the things that we were doing, all of the knowledge we were investing in was like technology, electricity, physics, these sort of things. And these things have served us greatly. But those Eastern societies did the exact same thing, but they invested their time and their energy into the pursuit of spirituality. So, as much progress as we've had in technology, they've had in the pursuit of these spiritual wisdoms. And that's why they can resonate so deeply, because they have literally spent thousands of years trying to find these like underlying informational systems within individuals, throughout time.
And now you can just read it in a thin book you can buy from the store.
It's so insane, dude. Like, it's not even, dude. You don't even need to pay for it. Alan Watts, most of his talks are free online. Most of the books you can get as a PDF copy somewhere on the internet. It's the time period we live in, dude. We live in the time before. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but before information has become so vast that it's almost impossible to understand everything and grasp some a deeper understanding of it. Because I always imagine, what if you're born 100 years from now? Think about how much more humanity would know than we do right now.
Like it's it's almost going to be like consciousness is going to get born into more and more progressively stupider feeling of itself almost.
Yeah, it can't, like, what the fuck, I can't keep up type feeling.
And
Or do you mean
then as
like
a result of that, from a very young age, it again pushes that being, that consciousness to try and catch up, again catapulting the next generations, and it just is this perpetual loop until we hit the singularity, dude.
dude, I was talking to my mom the other day about it, and we were laughing. I don't know if I've asked this question on the podcast. Uh, you guys would like your kids to be better than you, right?
Surely.
Good. Good.
Mm,
They have to, Chris. I'll throw coffee at you if they're not.
but
Because then you haven't done your job as a
Your
parent.
parental job. Like I've spent all of this time having my ass kicked to learn the things I had to learn. If I can prevent you getting your ass kicked in some ways, like you're still gonna have your ass kicked, dude. Like that's gonna happen. That's the best way to learn as well. But I'm gonna try and give them as much of the information I had or didn't have technically, in the hopes that they turn out better than me. Wouldn't want to keep that from them.
Yeah, dude, you have to want your kid to be better than you. That's how you progress society. That's how you progress knowledge and consciousness. It,
why are we
oh,
progressing?
we're just I don't know. Progressing is maybe the
Why are
wrong
we
word. It's
progressing towards?
I don't know, dude. It's progression. So I think progressing is the wrong word. It's just you have to inform your kid, and more
I hate that about
information.
humanity. It's like progress. We need more. We need to be better. We need to know more and do more, experience more and pass on more. We need more.
Yeah.
For what? Why?
Because that's literally what the function of the universe is, dude. Like there's
Yeah.
literally this
It's just
instant shout into the universe of like, oh, there's nothing. I want more. Big
I want
fucking bang,
more than
dude.
nothing. I want so much more than nothing.
Exactly, dude. That's why, man. And that momentum is going to be perpetuated until the universe eventually runs its course, dude. And then it's probably gonna happen again.
Yeah, dude. Yo, that's another interesting idea. Or
You know that the scale must tip at some point, and eventually it can be like, I want less. I want so much less. I want far less.
That's the pendulum swinging, dude.
yeah, dude. I think it's so important. Like, it's like progress is probably the wrong word for what humanity is doing, because, like you said, it's just we want more, and we don't know what we want more. We actually have classified it as infinity, but infinity is infinite. So, what do we really want?
We want happiness.
We
We want
want
to find a state of being that is euphoric and heavenly, that can be consistently sustained without feeling guilty.
and
Um, and we have been trying a
I.
very long time.
Funnily enough, dude, I think dude, what I'm about to say is like probably quite controversial. I think we're pretty close
Yeah.
I think we're closer
because,
than ever, dude.
dude, listening to the way the Hindus and the Buddhists talk about moksha, the complete understanding of oneness and letting go of the ego as ultimate and pure joy and happiness, is a very interesting like idea I've been trying, and it is true. The more you understand what the reality is and how humans interconnect and how everything interconnects in this universe, the less you cling. The less you try to actually Alan Watts had he had
Nowhere to
such a way.
stand, dude.
Dude, no, he had the fucking best way of describing this ever. All of us smoke here, so I'm gonna use this example. Have you ever taken a puff of a joint and blown it out into like a god ray? And you see this like amalgamation of like smoke mixing with air and light particles, and everything
Turbulence.
just flows, and then it's gone. And that is like everything in the universe. And it's not the act of the thing disappearing that thing can be taken in two ways. It can be taken as, oh fuck, everything's gonna break, everything's gonna die, everything's gonna disappear, everything I love is going to go away. But if you're gonna take that, you're attaching yourself on that. You will never, ever be able to get that smoke back once it's dissipated. And never ever. And clinging to the idea and hoping that the smoke will come back is going to end you in misery, because for the rest of your life, you're going to miss all of the great things going around you because you're hoping the smoke will come back.
On
But
that
when
note,
you
dude, grandma passed
no,
away
please.
on the 2nd of
Your
September.
your
Yeah.
Sorry. No.
No, it's okay, guys. She had Alzheimer's, and like what you're saying now about the smoke, like I'm pulling, you know, some parallels, if you will. Like she lived a beautiful life, and like the last bit of it, the last like little fading smoke, she had extreme Alzheimer's, and she was breaking down, and she was definitely not herself anymore. And someone said something in one of the streams that really resonated with me, where they were like, instead of thinking of this Alzheimer's as this horrible disease, you can also think of it as almost a way to return your mind / your ego back to a state of childlikeness, so that you can like go into the afterlife with less attachment. Like you have literally, because of the lack of memory, the lack of any coherent thoughts, you don't have that attachment to yourself anymore. So death isn't as scary as a thing anymore. And like I'm happy for her. I really am happy for her that she gets to like rest finally, dude. Like she's been living with this disease for almost 7 or 8 years now, and
Sometimes you
it's not
can't
been
help.
easy.
Sometimes you can't help miss that smoke cloud, Johan.
No,
no, I
Sometimes you
know.
do. Sometimes you do get attached to that smoke cloud, and it's the way you choose to define your existence.
No,
the sadness you experience. Alan Watts says it as well. There is no wrong emotion. The sadness you experience is your way of expressing how much something meant to you, how much you cared for it and didn't want to see it disappear. So that sadness that you carry, especially when it was something incredibly important and profoundly valuable to you. I mean, I think I'm gonna carry my sadness for the rest of my life when it comes to certain things. But it's something I'm willing to do, something that I'm okay with expressing
So,
because
I,
that's the way I choose to be.
I want to ask something as well, Christian, because I do 100% agree with you that sadness is something that has a place. But do you believe that in the holding on to the sadness that you have, you should be robbing yourself from the enjoyment you can get from life in certain aspects?
Absolutely not. That's why it doesn't get lighter, you get stronger. You get stronger because you want to get strong enough to be able to carry this thing and still live your life fully. Now, yeah, you can. It just depends on the person. That's why I said it's very personal to everyone how you choose to express yourself. Some people are able to let it go and move on with their lives and live on and so on and so forth. Some of us want to carry that thing because it reminds us of something. Uh, it's almost not like sadness. It's like just a past memory that you keep in the present. Sure, it's slightly like trapping it where it's not meant to be, but you know you're not ready yet, not ready to see it go yet.
life is complicated, dude. Life is very complicated
So,
because
oh man, like I feel so strongly just about the fact that technically it's not really gone. You know?
Hmm.
Not really, dude. Because again, we subscribe to the ideas of infinity. And in the ideas of infinity, that cloud of smoke is basically
Always
stuck
there
in
forever.
that moment. Yeah, literally on a fifth dimensional way. Everything is stuck in that moment. It's not gone. It's just past.
I have a funny
it's just
theory about like the afterlife where we're no longer bound by time. We can choose to revisit those feelings in those moments and stay there forever if we should so choose. Um,
be an interesting like here's your life. What do you want to go see again?
Well, I mean
no,
that
no,
like
no,
opens
no,
up a
no,
new
no,
can of
not
worms
not
for a
just
Black
your
Mirror
life,
episode.
not just your life. Infinity,
Oh, you mean
way
like
back,
you want to go
way
see
back.
anything?
Dude, you're not bound by your flesh. You're not bound by your own memories or your own, ego or existence or whatever the hell you want to call it. You are literally a ball of
Consciousness.
consciousness that is like unbound, really unbound by space and time. So it's like, where on this stream do you want to go? Because you're free. Because you're absolutely free to do whatever the hell you want to do. We came here and chose to be human beings because we wanted this experience. We wanted to experience being human again. Yeah, or this is just part of your infinite journey, and this is just the current point in time that you are in. And eventually, once you break back out and you experience death, and you break back out, you can be like, "Oh wow, whew, that was crazy." All right, what part of the timeline do you want to live again, or live anew?
Dude.
Dude, so like, man, I had this conversation, almost exactly this conversation with my dad this weekend and my cousin. And like when I said that, like, he was like, "Nope, not possible." You know, like he doesn't want to believe in this idea, and it's very difficult for me as well because I do believe there are ways to live closer to divinity or further away from divinity, and depending on which path you choose, if you will, your life and then in turn your death is going to influence maybe the direction you go in. But I believe you're still going to be very much within the whole. And if you
Yeah.
have to take some loops, up and down loops, left and right loops, to get to the point you're supposed to go, that's not going to be taking anything away from the divinity of your life or your experience or your journey. It's just going to mean you're going to have to take a different one. Sometimes you're going to make mistakes. Sometimes you're going to land up in a shitty position because of the mistakes you made for a long time. And that is a part of the experience as well.
I like to picture it as if I were to define my own reason for being here on Earth, or even just being a consciousness ball, for lack of better words, a spirit, if you will, is I'm taking a break from certain things, and I'm enjoying new things and letting the want and need for the things that matter to me to build up again before I go back to it.
Dude,
Yeah.
never that's part of clinging. If you're gonna cling too hard on what you think you like and what you think you should be like, it's gonna be the same. You're gonna get bored.
Okay. But
Like,
that's me. What's
no,
wrong with
it's
that?
no, nothing's no. What I mean is in the sense of how's the best way to describe it? I'm gonna use sport because it's the easiest one I can use right now. Don't throw away your potential love of hockey because you really like tennis.
Hmm.
That's that's what I mean. Don't cling to what you think is you
Yeah,
are.
100%. No doubt, Johan. But I do eventually want to go back to tennis.
Yeah, fuck yeah. There's never. I didn't mention you can't go back to tennis. I just said don't forget your love of hockey, and that's why I really like Alan for his idea of no, or and the same Buddhist Taoists, all of them, the idea that no emotion is wrong because none is. You're feeling what you need to feel right now because you're feeling because you need to feel it, and that's
You
what
want to feel it.
because you want to feel it, and that is
And
totally
that
totally
includes the
fine.
feeling of not wanting to feel something.
Yep.
Dude,
That's
everything.
the paradox.
Dude,
Dude, like
paradox
this is
upon paradox.
actually this is something we had a conversation about in stream the other day. If like we are technically these now fifth dimensional beings, and we are basically pushing one of us, like maybe like a hazing sort of thing, pushing one of us into the fourth dimension, this dimension, 3 dimensions in the dimension of time. And as you get your head pushed into this dimension, you experience the entire life that is you right now. So it's like what
Or
if
is it
this
just dunking
existence?
someone's head
Yeah,
in and out? Like,
exactly. Like having your head dunked in
can
the
you
like
imagine
metaphysical
what a fucking
toilet.
torture method is that, bro? Like they're trying to extrapolate some information from you in this alternate dimension. They're like, "Are you ready to talk?" No, I'm not. Dunks your head into the human
lives
mind.
lives 100-year-old
Like,
life,
no,
has kids.
not again.
And I was like, damn, I didn't want to think about it that way, but that is hilarious.
So I don't know sort of, but I don't mind. But that's just funny as fuck. You just actually every single one of us are super spies, bro. Fifth dimensional super
Because
spies.
he's getting waterboarded right now.
Getting waterboarded to experience life. Dude, this is what I love.
I'll never talk. Okay, back.
Dude, that's what I love. Because it's so absurd, the situation we find ourselves in, that is plausible.
Absolutely.
The weird part is, dude, like having these conversations with our parents, they look at us like we're fucking insane. Dude.
Yeah,
there's,
like you're
something
mad.
wrong with us. Yeah, and like yet we have these conversations, and it's something that brings us joy. Like
Yeah,
I wonder at
dude.
what point that kind of happened. Like, is it something of youth? I don't think so.
I don't think so
I don't
either.
think it's just youth, dude. I think that it definitely has something to do with the times as well.
Dude, I was did I mention my love of watching businesses battle
Business is
on this?
battle.
Yeah, so recently, I don't know if you guys heard about the what do you call it? The OnlyFans wanting to ban their
Oh wow.
Explicit
But we-
content.
yeah, they didn't do it because they would have lost 90% of their people,
Yeah, I was
so
about
they
to
didn't
say,
end
like,
up
how are
doing
they
it.
gonna do that?
100% of our revenue.
What was funny to me is one of my friends told me that, and the first that popped in my head was, wow, I just watched two fourth dimensional entities duke it out over 3D space. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? Because I'd love to know what you guys think we classify the fourth dimension as, but the fourth dimension for me at least is the start of abstract ideas. Like a business. A business is an entity that is not of our 3D space. It only exists in our collective understanding of
Belief.
of belief. Yeah, it has written
God is the
papers and
fourth
stuff.
dimensional being.
Yeah, it's not like, yeah, we have written papers and that, but if everybody in the world goes, that's not fit, that's not real, that thing ceases to be. In but where does it cease to be? And that's why I classify it as the fourth dimension.
It is the existence through conscious decision.
Yeah, it's like a religion. It's like our collective belief of something. And so I was sitting listening, going, that is the coolest thing. I've never thought about it like that. And then you can extrapolate things further out. And then so the next thing I was thinking of is I was listening to Terence McKenna talk about how the universe is syntactical in nature, where it is more about the conversation and connectionness between objects than it is about like photons and neutrons and everything else. And he talks about how it's the mind that has the ability to cut through the universe to experience things. So in that way, I then classify the mind as being in your fifth dimension. Because if the mind can dream up a fourth dimension, means the mind has to be higher than it.
So then it actually comes just back to the Kabbalion theory of the all is mind. You know, technically the fundamental underlying force of this entire universe is that self's mind. So then we would be as a meditation to that mind. You know, as you start to awaken through your meditation, you reach a certain point of peak, and then you come back into your awakened state, like, or just awake state, if you will. And then you close your eyes again and you start the whole process over again. You can think of that as the Big Bang happening, the entire universe being created.
I'd
All
like
of
to
life
scale
being
that
experienced.
down slightly to a more comprehensible image of like how Earth is a brain and the human beings are the neurons firing in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see,
So
I'm happy that you're saying you're making it a little bit more comprehensible, because the thing I'm saying is, and the way I think about it is like each one of the little atoms that make up each and everything we have around us is like the neurons to this divine mind, dude. And that's just our entire infinitely expanding universe, dude.
how it can go infinitely small and infinitely large is what is profound. And remember that video I showed you by Tim Minchin, how it just shits on religion. Remember that one?
Is this not enough?
Is this not enough?
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah.
unfathomably complex universe not enough for you?
That's why I think it's very, very important that no matter how much you foray into other dimensions of thought, never forget what you are dealing with is reality. And because that's why I'm sorry, people that are really Christian listening to this. I don't even think Christians listen to this podcast. I feel like it would be.
I think they stopped at number
All of
one.
our
eh?
friends are just, spiritually aligned. They
Yeah.
realize that the religion is just another veil on top of spirituality.
Yeah, but that's why I find it so sad for people to believe that they themselves are not capable of things. Like, yes, you are part of this divine mind, and yes, you are a portion of it, but it is infinite. You are but a portion of infinity. That doesn't mean.
You are also infinite.
Yeah, it means I'm gonna use coding
By
things.
mathematical definition, you are also infinite because a
You-
fraction of infinity
It's
is
still
still
infinity.
infinity.
Yeah,
Yes, dude. Like it just blows my mind, man. It keeps blowing my mind.
Dude, and then like with the understanding of coding and how that works, like classes. I feel like that's anybody that's a coder will understand it. Basically in coding you have a class and you can make child classes of a class. And through inheritance, the child class will gain all of the functionality of the upper class, but not and vice versa.
That can depend on which methods
Yeah.
are public or protected or private.
Yeah, there's a bunch of extra stuff you could do, but just the core principle of that is what we're talking about.
Anywho.
Infinity DMT.
Dude, we made on our Discord channel, we're all now names of different drugs. You have DMT over here, you have Miss Molly, which is me,
LSD.
LSD, dude, uh,
Taylor,
boys,
amphetamine.
I love life. I'm sitting here, I'm smoking a Keef pipe, so cheers to you boys. Uh,
Another.
it is, we need to at some point think about the I don't know what is the name for DMT. We have Miss Molly, or we have Molly, we have
Dimitri.
Lucy, we have Mary Jane. What's
Dimitri.
wrong? Dimitri. Okay, Dimitri for DMT. It's not bad. Wow, guy's name as well. Fuck yeah. Um, at some point, dude. That's another
I
big.
feel like it has to be more of a Greek philosophical kind of name.
Demagot.
Monticles or some shit.
It has to
Multicles.
have, well, Democles.
Democles.
It was
Democles.
Democles again.
Democles.
Democles. Democles.
Okay, so like talking about these sort of things, let's kind of go into the topic of if DMT plays a very essential role in our perception of reality, and we happen to find it when we find aliens within them as well, then we can start to draw some sort of correlations between the conscious experience and how DMT regulates that. I'm also really curious about how DMT could potentially create a space in which you could be able to interact with species from other, star systems.
I
if you
honestly
will.
believe we can through DMT because, like, I've been thinking about it a lot, right? In terms of alien beings that might exist out there. What if they are just on a completely different fucking time scale? So, what we perceive as time, they're perceiving it 100 million trillion times faster.
Dude, like, let's talk about the crystal, actually. A crystal has, like, a life cycle. It grows and it matures and it becomes the thing that it is. But it takes hundreds of thousands of years for that to happen. And we also experience life, get born, grow up, and then eventually become an adult and perish. So, and then we have this time scale attached to that. So this crystal could be having conversations with the crystals next to it as it watches just the unfolding of millions of years of information happening in front of it. But because it grows so slow, it has a consciousness so slowly vibrating that it can be experiencing all of that in what we would think a lifetime. And
If the rocks could talk.
dude, I mean, have you
Oh,
seen,
I
like,
think
I don't
they
know if you guys have
can.
yeah, they
I
can,
think
dude. Like,
they
that's what I just
can.
wanted to say. Like, if you have these things where you attach electrodes to anything, and if that thing produces shifts in electrons, you can basically use those shifts in electrons to power a synthesizer, which means you can almost hear the thing talking. If you attach it to mushrooms, like the video I showed you,
Yeah.
it makes sounds. He
Mushrooms.
attaches them to crystals as well, Johan.
Dude, mushies are
You should go listen to what
like
those crystals
mushies
talk.
are just trying to be our friends, bro. Just
Dude.
want to be friends. Like that, live with us
Dude, do you know
together.
what's funny? Me and Estelle were talking about it. Mushies have like an innate, whoa, you're not allowed to have more in them. Not by like killing you, but just by not producing the same effect.
Yeah, extreme tolerance.
Like extreme tolerance buildup. No matter how much you'd like to hear what they have to say, they're like, no, you have to process it first. You've experienced it.
and
Okay,
don't be
sick.
greedy.
Wait a
Like,
month.
mushrooms actually wants you to be frugal with them as well. They don't want you to be eating all of them alone. That's the crazy part about it. Because let's say, for example, I have copious amounts of mushrooms, you know, like more mushrooms than any other person has in the entire world.
You're getting close there.
You're getting close, dude.
Shut the fuck up. and because of this, I now hoard all of these mushrooms, and I now tell myself I'm going to gain all of the information the universe wants to give me. So now I start day 1 with 1 gram of mushrooms. And I'm like, yeah, this is good. I'm getting good information. Day 2, I have to take 2 grams of mushrooms to just feel the same effects I felt on 1 gram. Day 3, 4 grams. Day 5, 8 grams.
Wait,
So-
you got out. You got out.
Bastian.
Where did I cut
If you have
out?
1 gram, if you have
Okay,
1 gram.
yeah, so
Thing we heard was
so starting with 1 gram. Now I take 1 gram, I have this, you know, let's say light experience. And you're like, okay, sick, day 2, let's take 2 grams, you know. And then you basically have almost the same experience you had the day before. Day 3, 4 grams. Day 5, 8 grams. And now at what point are you stopping? And now no matter how much mushrooms I have, I'm 30 days in, I'm eating tons of mushrooms a day.
Tons.
To just be able to experience the same as the 1 gram effect. So it doesn't encourage you to be abusive. It doesn't encourage you to be a hoarder or selfish with this plant. And that's the thing that makes it, to me at least, just something that's so beautiful, dude.
Bro, I feel like that they were just we're here together, but mushrooms are like, I don't know, it's sort of like a handhold towards teaching human beings about you know how ego is in some ways like an illusion. I don't know.
Dude, imagine having the information of an entire forest of plants.
What,
like
what I
that's-
kind of wanted to say was it's like it makes us kinder, if that makes sense. Imagine like the human being that is just built upon ego. Just all of it is pride and wanting to be heard and be famous and not give a crap about his fellow man or nature itself. And that's the way we've been living for a long ass time, you know. That's kind of what happened to humanity at some point. Is we lost mushies, bro. Mushies went away. Like
I don't think we lost them, dude. I think
no,
they
we
were
stopped
hidden.
consuming them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And look at what look at what happened. We were like, oh,
Yeah.
no,
So boys, I also did the math.
industrialization.
At the end of the 30 days, if I double my dose, you know, from 1 gram, I'll be eating 1,073 tons of mushrooms by the end of the month to sustain the 1 gram experience. So it is not possible to get addicted to that substance. And like, I think it's because it's a serotonistic affecting one as well. It's the same thing with conversations, with like social interactions. Like I'm beat. Like after this weekend, just non-stop socializing, because socializing releases serotonin in our brains as well. That's why we as human beings enjoy socializing. If you see someone smiling at you, or the thing you just said, that shit feel good because serotonin. But do that the whole day, and at the end of the day you're like, oh shit, I'm fucking tired, I need to get into my own space. Yeah, exactly, dude. And that's the thing with these serotonistic stuff. You cannot abuse it, because it's like this full experience of you having to be present, of you having to process. Man, like, it made me think of this, I'm trying to not get the perfect words, where they were comparing mushrooms in a way to creating a set for you to be your own therapist. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it does for you. And in that way, it helps you become more kind, because you're like, why is it I'm a mean person?
You're being kinder to yourself as well.
Yes.
You're being more patient and understanding. You're trying to find ways to communicate with your own being that would permit you to be at peace and not feel inadequate, and realize that you're already whole, that there's no deficiency to the way that you are, and that it's okay to have flaws. And it's okay to try and fix those flaws. It's okay to fail at that as well. So it's amazing how, I mean, you guys know me, I'm pretty hardcore when it comes to myself. I'm incredibly harsh and constant perfectionist when it comes to me. And I have to say that I, I occasionally need that little dose of mushies to remind me that I need to chill. I need to give myself time to experience this life without the need of trying to prove myself, not just to other people, but to myself as well. You
Yeah.
know, there's what we're doing here. It's we're not in any rush. Sure, I mean, if you have a goal you want to achieve before you leave this place, I mean that's up to you, but you can always do it in another lifetime, you know? And in some ways it's more important to get to know this thing that is your body and this form of consciousness that you've chosen to manifest as than trying to achieve something with it. I feel it's more important to get to know what it is on its own because that's the thing that's not going to be repeated. That's the thing that's not going to come again, you know? Um, so at some point, you sit down and you look at yourself, and I mean, I think about this very often where I'm like, shit, I'm going to miss the shit out of Chris. Chris is such a fucking good motherfucker. I'm going to miss the crap out of him, man. I fucking enjoyed my time with Chris, you know? And it's like that. You need that little moment of self-love, of clarity, of like, holy crap, you know, look at all the stuff I've done in this body. Look at how much fun I've had with this person called, you know, me, called me.
Something that I find incredibly trippy. Not just when you're on something, but something that is incredibly trippy is go look at a mirror and go look close and just stare into your own eyes. There is,
You in your own eyes as well, dude.
dude, it's the weirdest feeling. I've never experienced love on that level for anything.
Okay.
As
Ooh, now
your
you're making my juices flow, dude. So
dude,
when you look into someone's eyes or look into your own eyes, you're basically looking through the veil where you reside.
yeah.
Because technically, you're not your body. You're that thing just behind your eyes. And when you look into someone's eyes, you're looking
get
through these
uncomfortable.
small little holes, dude. In which you're basically like, oh, are you inside of that spaceship? Dong, dong, dong. You in there? I'm in here.
Stop!
I
I'm
see
naked
you.
in here. Go away.
Dude.
That's what it's like, dude. You're literally, and doing it to yourself, you're doing the same thing as well. Man, there's just so many loops that you can get into, dude. Like, there's so many like,
Estienne, did
levels
you
to
have
it.
that exercise with Naverne where you sat and stared into each other's eyes?
Not with Naverne, but me and Adam used to do that.
Yeah, dude, it's hectically powerful. What happens to you? And it's like it's an exposure, a sense of vulnerability that goes into it.
It's an oxytocin feedback loop as well, actually, dude.
Chemical
Yo,
does.
it's difficult for me to do that, even with myself in the mirror, bro.
It's when eyes are the windows to the soul, dude. There's a reason that's a quote.
You get seen, dude. You get seen.
You get to see, dude. We also found out how eyesight properly works with Reynard the other day, me and Chris. It's basically when photons hit there's a carbon atom or carbon chemical in your eyes. So when a photon hits it, it absorbs the light into it, which flips two chemical bonds, which then releases a certain portion of the carbon, which your brain can then interpret as
An electric
the
signal.
different, yeah. So what's like, if you really think about it, it's literally the only place where you are actually taking photons that have reflected off everything else and looking at and completely absorbing it into you,
Becomes a part of you, dude.
dude.
Yep. I'm a firm believer in the things we consume become part of us, dude. Like, no matter what it is, be it the foods we eat, the content we watch, the things
I
we
love
say
food.
as well, in a weird way.
Definitely, dude. Definitely. Things you say, if you're not careful, you'll very quickly become somebody that lies to yourself.
You know what? Like, I'm working on myself right now because I've been feeling myself getting very angry with people when they like say these things about themselves. Like, especially so with streaming. Like some people on the streaming platforms will just type out in like big bold letters, I am depressed slash anxious slash this slash that, come talk to me. And the first thing I feel is like, you're literally proclaiming to the entire universe, this is what I am. How can you expect to get out of that?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, and the hardest thing is for some, it's not always something you can control.
It's not.
But
It's not.
it
But
is
what you
at
choose
the-
to say, that is
Yeah,
something you can
dude.
control.
At the end of the day, it is only going to be you that can get you out of it,
Absolutely.
dude. That sucks, but it's the truth, and it's what somebody's gonna tell me that one day if something bad happens to me. I'm gonna tell that to you guys when something bad happens to you. It is the truth, and it's one of those hard truths, but in the same way, it's the most profound and I don't know what's the right word, comforting idea that you don't need an external force to help.
Mm.
Somebody can help point you in that right direction,
Be a guide,
but
if anything.
but if you refuse to see the thing they're pointing at, it doesn't matter.
I've often wondered about the existence of evil and if that is even a thing,
Dude.
or the existence of good. There is no good, there is no evil.
It's all
It
a
just
function
is.
of the same. Yeah, dude, exactly.
All the same coin. So when a
Dude,
person is
I believe.
depressed and sees themselves as depressed, there must be some sort of reason that they choose to be that way. When a person goes kills himself, I can't explain it because I've never. Well, of course I've had the thoughts, but I've never tried to, act upon them.
The way I
They
explain it, Christian, is just that all of experience is divine. So even the experience of being extremely depressed and taking your own life, that is a life lived. You have had a life full of experience up to the point that it ended. And the life that you lived is 100% unique, is 100% the experience that was necessary within that life. And within an infinite mind, divine mind, if you will, even those horrible potential experiences would have to be a part of the total experience. Otherwise, they would be lack in which is infinity, and that's not possible.
I wish I could draw it for you guys, like my view of how infinity goes. So it's like the eight,
Mm-hmm.
the sideways eight,
Yeah.
but instead of combining back up with the line, it goes downwards and makes another eight, and then it goes down, or it goes upwards. It doesn't really matter which direction it goes in, but it goes,
And it
makes
just
another
keeps
eight.
making another 8 down
There
and
might be
down.
an easier one than that to visualize. You just unfurl the infinities on the sides of the where the 8 closes, and you just attach more to it. So it's this up and down DNA helix, basically.
Side to side instead of up and down.
Dude, we're gonna be feeding the minds of tomorrow. And honestly, like, with all of the knowledge that we've accumulated through the thousands of years, and all of our opinions that we've been able to formulate and been able to bounce off of other people that are in the same age or the same positions as us. Again, dude, I love the conversations we had with Uncle Becky.
Yo, dude, we need to get him on
back
again.
on. Yeah, I've invited him, but man's busy as well, dude.
Busy dude.
I really enjoyed that because it was the ability to talk with someone that has come from a completely different space in life, completely different time, has built himself a different life, and yet we share so many similar ideas.
Dude.
The underlying
Universal
truth.
truths.
Yep.
That's why I love having. Well, actually, I always tell people that know me well know I love to be social. I'm one of the most social people I know. Not in the normal sense though. I don't go out to clubs every day and go get drunk and that. So I love to talk to people. I love in meeting new people of any type, of any person, whether it be a car god or the queen. I'll have the same type of conversations with you. It's nobody. Nobody is that high on a pedestal that I cannot have a proper conversation with them, or that low to the ground. Everybody is equal, and everybody should be treated as such.
Dude, you know what
Bloody
like,
should
that makes
be.
me think of as well? Like, and this is something I've been thinking about so much, the act of washing someone's feet, dude. And it's
Mhm.
something that is depicted in the Bible as well, because that genuinely is this acceptance, this recognition that we are equal. And not only are we equal, but we are equal in a way that I would respect you as much as I would respect myself. You know, like washing someone's feet is such a, like, literally, you're quite literally lowering
A
yourself
gesture of
below
love,
them.
bro.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
100% gesture of love, of showing that person that you are not other than me, and I am not other than you enough for me to have this sense of separation or this unwillingness to do something like that, dude.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful gesture to me.
Dude, it is. Man, this
Gonna
universe is
come
too
wash your
cool.
feet, Estian.
I'll wash your feet as well, dude. And I believe on that note, it has been an amazing chat, boys.
Great way to end the podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. Like,
dude.
wash someone's feet, friends. This is the
Yeah.
takeaway.
Yeah, go wash someone's feet.
Podcast challenge. Go wash someone's feet.
Wash someone's feet. Like, circle back next week. Tell us how many feet you've washed. Might spawn the new generation of foot fetishers.
Whoops. It's just us sitting in 10 years' time. Fuck.
Oh, damn.
I can see that on the t-shirt. Be the change. Wash
Be the-
someone's feet.
Oh, boys.
Dude, I
thank
believe.
you
Okay, so
much.
like jokes aside, I genuinely believe if we as a society can get to the point where we can put aside our own, beliefs of superiority, and we can wash each other's feet genuinely, I genuinely think society would be better off.
I agree.
No doubt, bro. Absolutely no doubt. But love and light to everyone out there. Wish you guys an awesome week ahead. Stay frosty, stay safe, stay happy.
And
Yeah.
for love, friends, thank you so much. I'll see you again
Awesome.
next time.
See you
Adios.
again. Love you guys.
Adios.
Cheers.